Today's topic is the zero product property, or as you can find it in your textbook in the section 4.5 is quadratic equations. So the zero product property allows us to split two factors and equal them to zero. The zero product property says that if the product of two or more factors is zero, then one of those factors must be a zero. For example, in this case, I have this property in a PowerPoint, but also you can find another one that says if A times B is equals to 0, then A equals to 0 or B equals to 0. So that's the property. The property allows you to equal both factors to 0 and then equal both factors to 0 to find, in this case, you're going to find the zeros or the x-intercepts. That's where the parabola or the function crosses the x-axis. So how can we use it? So we have the first example here. Solve for x. So I have x plus 4 minus x plus 4 times x minus 3 equals to 0. With the zero product property, we know that if we multiply any of these two factors, one of those ones must be equals to 0. So to solve, all we need to find is what makes x plus 4 equals to 0 for the first case, this one, and x minus 3 equals to 0 for the second case. So what will x have to be to get x plus 4? What will x have to be to get x minus 3 equals to 0? That's when we start solving. So we solve for x and then we find that value. These are our solutions, also known as roots, x-intercepts, or zeros of the quadratic function. So the first example that we have is solve 2x, x minus 6, x plus 8 equals to 0. So all of these factors are going to be equals to 0. For example, applying the zero product property, I'm going to have 2x equals to 0, or x minus 6 equals to 0, or x plus 8 equals to 0. Now here, remember, we are solving for x. So 2 is multiplying, so we are going to divide both sides by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. So x is equals to 0 divided by 2 is 0. Second, we know that we're going to add 6 both sides of the equation because I have negative 6, so I use the opposite of that operation. So x is equals to 6, and the last factor is x plus 8, so I use the opposite, minus 8 in both sides of the equation. 8 goes away, so x is equals to negative 8. So my solution is going to be, we're going to use the curly brackets and put all these numbers. We're going to put negative 8, comma 0, comma 6. And these ones are your zeros, x-intercepts, or roots. Okay. It says do this on your own and check your work with a partner. We are going to solve it together. So remember, what we're going to do is just split these two factors and equal them to 0. X minus 18 equals to 0. X minus 5 equals to 0. So we have that x is equals to positive 18. X is equals to positive 5. So my solution is 18 and 5. As you can see, the order is not important. The order in this case is not very important, so you can put 18 first, then 5, or you can put 5 or 18. It depends on you. It's up to you if you want to do it in order or not. The next example that we have is x minus 6 times 3x plus 11 equals to 0. As we can see, these functions are already factorized. So we're doing this one because it's the easiest case first. So I have x minus 6 equals to 0, and 3x plus 11 equals to 0. Okay. I need to mention that here we need to write or. Okay, or. So I have this one is x equals to 6 Now here, a little bit of more work is we subtract 11 minus 11. 11 goes away. So 3x is equals to negative 11. Then 3 is multiplying, so we're going to divide. That's the opposite of multiplication. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so x is equals to negative 11 over 3. So my zeros, my roots, my x-intercepts are, in this case, negative 11 over 3 comma 6. So that's my solution for this problem. Next one. So I have 6x minus 6x times x minus 4 times 2x minus 1. We're going to split all of them. 6x is equals to 0. X minus 4 equals to 0. You can put or there. Or 2x minus 1 equals to 0. So we know we are going to divide by 6 both sides. So x is equals to 0 is the first one. X minus 4. So we add 4. 4 goes away. So x is equals to positive 4. And last one, plus 1. Plus 1 both sides. Negative 1 goes away. So 2x is equals to 1. We still have 1 because this 2 times x. So we divide by 2. 2 goes away. So x is equals to 1/2. So my solution in this case, we're going to have 0, 4, and 1/2. That's going to be my solution. Problem number 6. I have 4 times x plus 3 times 5x minus 2 equals to 0. What happens? Probably they apply greatest common factor first before they factorize this function. So as you can see, this 4 is alone. It doesn't have an x. So what I'm going to do is divide all this expression by 4 in both sides. This 4 goes away. So I have x plus 3 5x minus 2 equals to 0 because 0 divided by 4 is 0. So now applying the zero product property, I have x plus 3 equals to 0 or 5x minus 2 equals to 0. So I know here x is equals negative 3. Then plus 2, these 2 goes away. 5x is equals to positive 2. Then we divide by 5, both sides. So x is equals to 2 over 5. So my solution will be negative 3, comma 2 over 5. Okay, that's the first part of the notes. So we are going to continue with the next one. Section C says factoring, then use the zero product property. So now we get the function, but it's not factored yet. We need to factorize first. So I have x squared minus 10x plus 24 equals to 0. Remember that we've been using the Xbox method. So the independent term 24 goes on top of the x. Then we have the middle term goes at the bottom, negative 10. I need two numbers that multiply each other will give me 24, and added or subtracted will give me negative 10. And those numbers are 6 and 4, but because this is negative 10, both are going to be negative. Negative 6 times negative 4 equals to 24. Negative 6 plus negative 4 equals to negative 10. So the factor form is x minus 6 equals to 0, and x minus 4 equals to 0. Apply the zero product property. Okay, if we apply the zero product property, so I have x equals to 6 and x equals to 4, and that will be my solution. Now the next problem that we have here, I have 3x squared minus 3x plus 2 equals to 2x. Remember that to apply the zero product property, we are going to make everything equals to 0. So that tells me that I need to move this 2x to the left. 2x is positive, is adding, so we're going to use the opposite, which is negative 2x minus 2x. And I line them up with the negative 3x because they have the same variable. So this 2x goes away. That one is 0. So I have 3x squared minus 5x plus 2 equals to 0. Now I can factor and apply the zero product property. Remember from class, now I have a 3x squared. It's not a leading coefficient of 1. So in this case, I have 3 and 1 and negative 2 and negative 1. See, if we put it on practice, we will get it done. So the factorization of this one is 3x minus 2 and x minus 1 equals to 0. Now let's apply the zero product property. Is 3x minus 2 equals to 0 and x minus 1 equals to 0. What is x equals to? Plus 2 plus 2. 2 goes away. 3x equals to 2. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. So x equals to 2 over 3. Here, plus 1 plus 1. 1 goes away. So x is equals to 1. So my solution is 2 over 3, comma 1. Next problem, it says on your own. So here you can, if you want, stop the video and try to give it a try. Try these problems and solve. Now what we're going to do is move this 4 to the left because we need this equation equals to 0. So I have minus 4 minus 4. This 4 goes away. So x squared minus 5x minus 14 equals to 0. If we factorize using the Xbox method or whatever method you know, we're going to get that this one is x minus 7 and x plus 2 equals to 0. We split to apply the zero product property, so x minus 7 equals to 0 or x plus 2 equals to 0. So x is equals to 7 and x is equals to negative 2. So I have 7 comma negative 2. Next problem. Remember, we need to make that the right side needs to be equals to 0. So all these are minus 3x squared minus 3x squared minus 2 minus 2. These two goes away. 6 minus 3 is 3. X squared minus 7x. And then I have 8 minus 2. 8 negative 8 minus 2 is equals to negative 10 equals to 0. Now we're going to factorize this quadratic function, and we're going to have that this one is 3x minus 10 and x plus 1 equals to 0. Now we split 3x minus 10 equals to 0 or x plus 1 equals to 0. We've been having enough practice, so I know that this problem is going to be x equals to 10 over 3 or x is equals to negative 1. So my solution is 10 over 3 comma negative 1. Now here the next part D says solving difference of squares. So we're covering every single topic that we've been doing in class. So solving difference of squares. So what I have here is x squared minus 25 equals to 0. Remember, difference of a square is x squared minus, because it's different, plus minus 25 equals to 0. So I have x plus 5, x minus 5 equals to 0. So now we split, so x plus 5 equals to 0, x minus 5 equals to 0, so x is equals negative 5, or x is equals to 5, so we have negative 5, comma 5. So that's problem number 1 of part D. Now here, minus 6, so I have 4x squared minus 36 is equals to 0. If we can see that 4 and 36, we have a common factor there, so we can factorize. So we have 4x squared minus 9 equals to 0. 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times negative 9 is negative 36. So now we divide by 4 both sides of the equation. So this 4 goes away. So we have x squared minus 9 equals to 0. I'm going to move here. So I have x squared minus 9 equals to 0. Now I'm going to factorize x plus 3. X minus 3 equals to 0. So we know we have x plus 3 equals to 0. X minus 3 equals to 0. So we have x equals negative 3 and x equals 3. So my solution, negative 3 comma 3. Next problem, I have problem number 3 and problem number 4. So x squared minus 81. So it's the same as x plus 9. X minus 9 equals to 0. We split x plus 9 equals to 0. Or x minus 9 equals to 0. So x is equals to negative 9. Or x is equals to 9. So my solution, I have negative 9 comma 9. This problem. I have 3x squared on the right side. Remember, we need to move everything to the left. So minus 3x squared minus 3x squared. These two goes away. So I have 12 minus 3 is equals to 9x squared minus 144 equals to 0. Two options. I know the square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 144 is, in this case, 12. So we are going to, but if we want a complete factorization, we can do greatest common factor. We know that the greatest common factor, we can have 9, and then we have x squared minus, in this case, minus 16, okay, minus 16 equals to 0. Then we divide by 9 both sides of the equation, so we have x squared minus 16 equals to 0. We apply difference of squares, so we have x plus 4. X minus 4 equals to 0. So we have x plus 4 equals to 0. X minus 4 equals to 0. So x is equals to negative 4. Or x equals to 4. So my solution is negative 4 comma 4. There are some challenge problems that I added to the notes. Why they're challenged? Because they are not equals to 0. And we cannot just move it to the left and add it to negative 1 because there is a parenthesis. So I'm just going to say the steps. The steps in this case is apply distributive property. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times negative 1 is negative x equals to 5. So now we can move 5 to the left side. So I have 2x squared minus x minus 5 equals to 0. And now you can factorize and find the zeros. For problem number 6 is the same situation. But I have a binomial. So I have x minus 3, x plus 6 equals to negative 20. If we apply distributive property here for these binomials, what we are going to have is x squared plus 3x. And then we are going to have negative 18 plus 20 is equals to positive 2 equals to 0. So now we can factorize, and the solutions for this problem is going to be x equals negative 2 and x equals negative 1. So you can give it a try to those challenge problems if you want, and then turn in your notes. So thank you very much and have a wonderful afternoon.